So why do we use loops? Why do we use loops?
If you want to execute anything multiple times,
Iterative statements.
Yeah, okay. So why it's necessary?
Repetition of same condition.
Yeah. See, we want to print something, okay? Okay, see, observe. We want to repeat the same code again and again. So in that case, what I have to do? So we have a simple statement. Okay. So I want to print this for 5 times. Okay, is the right way of coding? No, right? So it violates do not repeat yourself, dry principle, right? The same code should not be repeated again and again, right? So we go for the loops. We want to execute some statements again and again until some certain condition returns false, right? So I'm going to start with one condition and I'm going to iterate till the condition becomes false. Okay. So in JavaScript, so we have a for loop, while loop, and do while loop. Okay. So in also in for loops, so we have some variants called for of, for in. Okay, we will see in the advanced classes. So for today, we're going to see about for loops, while, and do while. Okay, so why do we use a for loop? Okay, so basically loops. Okay, why do we use loops? So we want to repeat the some statements or some set of codes again and again. Okay, to execute set of statements repeated or continuously. Okay, so for continuously, we want to repeat some code, then we will use loops. So what is iteration? Iteration. So some repeating of same process, we call iteration, right? So repetition of repetition of repetition of any process, we called iteration. Okay, so in JavaScript, so we have two types of loops. So we are going to classify our loops into two types. One is entry control loops, one is exit control loops. Okay, so before starting the loop, if I check the condition, okay, so before starting itself only, I'm going to check the condition, then I'm going to start the looping. So it's called entry control loops. So after executing of the statement, then I'm going to check the condition. This is called exit control loop. Once I done execution of a loop or any set of statement, then I will check the condition. So we call exit control loop. Okay, for example, while loop. So we call it as an entry control loop. So do while. So we called exit control loops. Okay. So types entry control and exit control. Okay. So in under entry control, so we have seen about we will see file loop. Okay. So first we will see for loop. So in for loop, so I'll write the syntax. Okay, so we need write a for keyword. Okay, followed by See, we have a counter. Okay, so we need to initialize the counter. So it's up to you. Okay, when you want to start a counter, it's not need not to be always 0. Okay, it's up to you. So first you need to define a variable. So counter is again a variable which takes the value for every iteration. Okay, so we need to store the value, right? We need a variable declaration. So it's up to you, let to var const. So of course const doesn't work, because if you want to reassign const variables, you can't able to reassign it, right? So either you can go for var or let keyword. Okay, so we called initialization. Initial initialization. Okay, followed by semicolon. Next we have a condition. Okay, so we need to put a simple condition. So until unless this condition is true, so the loop keeps on iterates. Once the condition is false, the loop will terminates and will exit from the iteration, right? Next, so either we can increment the counter, the initialized counter, or decrement it. Okay, so this is the for loop structure, then followed by body, right? So there you need to put a code to be repeated. Okay, so this is the structure of a for loop. Any doubts? See here, guys. So in the for loop, see all these three are optional. But if you're not going to keep these things, what will happen? The loop will go into infinite. So it keeps on iterates in once it's full of memory. The call stack is full memory, so your browser is going to crash. Okay, so it's most important to put this condition. Without this condition also it can work, no issue. It's not an mandatory, it's a optional. Okay, so this all about for loop. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to write the same code using for loop. For I'm going to initialize the counter or initializer with the let keyword, let. So usually we will use I always. In any programming language also we will prefer I. So no need to I, but I stands for iteration. Okay, so I is equal to 0. I'm starting with 0. Okay, I. So next is a condition, right? I should be less than 5. Okay, next I plus plus. So inside this one, I'm gonna print hello world. Okay, the same behavior. Okay, I printed 5 times. Understood? So how does it exactly works? Okay, how does it exactly works? So I'll write the cycle. Okay, try to understand. So if you understand one loop, so remaining will be same. Okay, only few differences. So have a for loop, let I is equal to 0. I should be less than 5, right? I plus plus. Inside I am printing console dot log. Okay, so let's start. See, the loop will start from here. Okay, so it's gonna see a variable has been declared. Okay, I is 0. Is 0 is less than 5. Next it's going to check the condition. Is 0 is less than 5. Yes, the condition is true. This condition is most important. This condition is true. So since this condition is true, this loop will start executing. Okay, the loop will start executing. And what is the main what is the code we have written here? So we want to print hello world, right? It's gonna print hello world first time in the console. So it's gonna print hello world. Next, so before next iteration, see, I am going to do increment. Okay, so I'm going to increment I by one value, right? See, I plus plus. So what is the new value of I now? I is equal to 1. Is 1 is less than 5? Yes, condition is still true, then it's going to execute. Okay, so second time it's going to print hello world. Understood? Next, so next it's going to increment by I by one value, right? So what is the new value of I now? 2. Is 2 is less than 5? Yes, still it's true, the condition is true. Third time it's going to print hello world. Next, it's going to see the increment will happen after execution of the code block. This is most important. See, first it's going to check the initialize the value. Next, it's going to check the condition. So in execute, once executes, whenever it repeats, see, this is called repetition. It's coming back, right? It's coming back. So then it's going to start increment the value, not before. Okay, it's most important. I will try to print the I value. We'll see these things. Okay, next. Now the new value of I is 3 now. So is 3 less than 5? Yes, right? Still 3 is less than 5. Okay, next. I becomes 4. Fifth time, it's going to print once again. Now, it's going to 6. Now, I is equal to 6. Is 6 is less than 5? Or not, 5 is less than, sorry, I is equal to 5, right? So is 5 is less than 5? No, the condition is false. 5 equals to 5. 5 is not less than 5. Once the condition is false, so it's going to stop executing. So it will come out of the loop. Okay, there is no more execution. So this is how the for loop is going to work. Any doubts here online?
No, sir.
Okay, so this is how the for loop is going to work. So
Doubt,
yeah,
doubt is the for loop only goes to 5, right, sir?
yeah,
And then after five it doesn't. After 5 it doesn't. It breaks. So if you want to say write the same thing 5 times, you use the for while. Right, sir?
yeah. See, once it reaches to 5, okay, once it reaches 5, it's check the condition here. 5 is less than 5. This condition returns false. Once the condition is false, so it is not going to execute, so it will terminate the loop and it is come out of this loop and it will going to continue the remaining code execution.
Okay.
Okay, it is going to stop and it will start the remaining code execution below. If you have written any codes below here, so it's going to start executing. See, after this I am planning to print hi there. So it writes hello world 5 times. Then the once the condition is false, it's come out of the loop and it is going to for remaining code execution. Understood?
I have a doubt. What
Yeah.
if we declare let and I above for and we give the condition I is equal to 0, I less
Yeah,
than
it's also works, right?
5? Okay.
So there we call it as a global variable. So when it comes to scope, I will tell you all these things. Okay,
Okay, fine. Yeah.
this also works. Both will work, but this is a memory leak because this I is completely global scope. Anyone can
Memory
do.
leak.
Come again?
Memory, what is that? What is
Memory leak.
Okay.
Okay, it's a global. Anyone can do changing here. Anyone can do change here. See, after that one, I can consume I. See, what is the value of I? Anyone can tell me now.
I
It's not undefined. It's not 0. It's 6. Sorry, 5, right? Yeah, it's 5. But if I define I here, so this I belongs to only the block. What is the block? This for loop block. Now it's not defined.
If we give object, take to console.
If you declare globally, so you can access anywhere in your code. Understood? So this is the issue. So we call it memory leak.
It is post increment, right? Last one. One sort of.
Yes, post increment.
Okay, so fine. Yeah.
This is post increment. Okay. See, this is the reason, guys. So we will prefer. Okay. So we will prefer. So you should not do these things. Okay. Until unless absolutely necessary, you should not do these things. Okay. So most important, guys. Okay. So don't declare here. So it can be accessible anywhere in your code. Okay. And one more important thing here is like, so while coming with the advanced concepts, I will explain. I will write an execution context, blocks, all these things. So if you use where, it will behave differently. It will use let also behave differently. Okay. So I will explain all those things. Okay, for the time being, initialize here itself on, because you are requiring this initializer for this for loop only, right? So make it a scope. Make it a scope. So only it's available inside this one. Okay. Now I try to print the I value also. So now anyone tell me how I want to print the I value along with this hello world.
Concatenation.
Yes, we go for concatenation. For concatenation, I will look for template literal, right? Best approach. I will print I value every second. Every iteration, I want to print I value. Okay. See, for every iteration, I is initially 0. Next 1, 2, 3, 4. Done. Right? So, this is how it's going to execute. Any doubts here?
Condition can be equal to 5.
Yeah, condition if you put is equal to 5, then it will print another one. Yeah, it will print one more time. That's it. Okay, because when I is equal to 5, I is less than or equal to. Yes, it's equal, right? But I should not be greater than 5. Okay, in this time, so we're gonna get a 6. So on the time, if you wanted, you can start with 1. If you want to 5 iteration, you can start with 1. Okay. Any doubts here now? Okay, this is all about for loop. Okay, next inside the for loop, so we have some certain conditions. So we have some written keywords, so like break and continue. Okay, when do you use a break? When do you gonna continue? Okay, so we'll see about continue and break. Okay, so my intention is to execute this code from 1 to 5 times. Okay, I want to skip some iteration, means whenever I is equal to some 3, I don't want to execute my code. I want to skip that code, skip that iteration. I will continue with the 4 and 5. So if you want to skip any one of the iteration, you can use continue. Okay, let's see that one. I will comment these things. Let I is equal to 0. I should be less than 5. I plus plus. Okay, so my plan is to print I value, but I'm going to put an if condition. Okay, if I see, I can able to access I inside my block, right? So this is what we using a let. Let is a block scope. Okay, let if I is equal to 3. Whenever I is equal to 3, I want to put a continue. Okay, so we can check this one. So console log. I. Okay, I'll just print I. That's it. Fine enough. Okay. See. So whenever I is equal to 3, I am not going to execute my code. So it's going to skip that particular code execution and it's going to continue with 4. Understood? So if you want to skip certain code or certain iteration, you can skip using continue. But so according to my condition, so when to start loop and when to end. So whenever I is equal to 0, I want to start. Whenever I is equal to 5, so I want to stop. So some certain condition, before condition becomes false, means, so before reaching 5, I want to stop it. Okay, like emergency break. So we are intent to create a machine to work properly. I mean, when to start and when to end. But I want to something undesirable things will happen. So we want to put a emergency break, right? Okay. So the same way. So you want to put a break. You want to execute. So before condition becomes false, I want to completely stop my code. So on the time we'll put a break. So it's really important. So continue and break sometimes you're gonna get a data from the backend. So it's a continuous data. Okay, in the current project we used to work within 1 million data, around 10 lakhs data at a time. Okay, sometimes so something happens, some data is missing. If one value is missed also, we used to that data to plot a chart. You know about, right? In Nifty and BS, you've seen the charts, right? You need to see the values of diagrams, right? So sometimes we need to get a wrong value. On the time, I don't want to show that, right? I want to throw errors. Something went wrong like these things. Okay. So on the time, we will put a break statement. If something missed in our iteration, something value is missed also, we are going to put a break. We will use on that time, this type of implementations. Okay, in real time. So you want to copy this thing. Okay, whenever I is equal to 3, I want to put a break. It's only starts with 0 and it will terminates before reaching 3. Understood? So any doubts in continue and break? Continue only skip a particular iteration, but when it comes to break, it's going to stop immediately before condition becomes false. Okay, any doubts, guys? Okay, fine. So one more important thing is called nested for loops. Okay, for loop inside another for loop. Okay, how does it exactly works? Let's see this thing. Okay, I have a requirement like a gym. Okay, so we have a set of exercises in gym, right? So each exercise we're going to do repetitions. So first exercise 1, we're going to do some 3 to 4 time repetition. Next exercise 2, we're going to do 4 to 3 repetitions. Like I'm going to print like these things. So for select, I'll use exercise or any other thing. Exercise equals 1. Okay, next exercise should be less than 4. Okay, 3 exercises. Okay, and exercise plus. Next starting exercise. So I want to get the exercise value, means I value exactly, right? So in the last example I, we will going to get the exercise number. Okay, next inside this for loop I am going to another for loop for nested for loops. Okay, so I'm going to declare a variable, so repetition. So repetition is also starts with 1. So each exercise I'm planning to repeat 5 times.